Hi guys, and welcome back to some more RoboCo. Today I thought we'd check out the second mission that's available in the campaign that involves saw blades. So this could be interesting. No idea what we're going to do or to expect. By the looks of it, we're going to have to cut down some trees. So this could be quite fun. Those branches are seeming kind of high. So I would expect, looking at the orange marks, we've got to knock off the branches and cut down the tree, right? Seems pretty straightforward, maybe. So as you can see right here, we've got our objectives. Cut down the trees, cut trees in the target zone, remove branches before cutting down the tree, and then load the logs into the truck. Now, unfortunately, we don't have anything that tells us the height of this thing, so it's going to be a little bit trial and error just to make sure that we can reach the tallest branch and the lowest branch. Got a few ideas, and like I say, we've been given the new piston, so potentially we'll be looking at using that to help us get up. No idea how I'm going to do all this because there's quite a few different combinations that we need to get in there. Different heights of the branches, and the branch cut angle is obviously different to the tree cut angle. First of all, start off nice heavy base, keep all the weight low, keep us kind of grounded, and we'll see where we go from here. So here's what I'm thinking, right? We're going to put a little piston on the side, and then we're going to put a 90-degree kind of hinge on it. And this is just to try things out because obviously I need to reach up to cut the branch in a up to down direction, and then I want this hinge to hinge at the 90 so that we can do the like left to right direction. We've got a little bit of a motor on the top of this piston as it is. Not entirely sure how or if this is going to work. This is just for me, just to try and trial and error it through. Still getting used to this game. We need to go in and actually set the piston up. So I'm just going to put it over, and we're going to want to move it out, and we're going to want to move it in. And let's have a look, see how that works. It's a very limited range of movement, which that's not too good. And looking at the options here, we don't actually have anything that gives us a height adjustment. We've just got a little bit of velocity and force and stuff, but I don't think that's going to make any difference to how high it goes. So I'm not entirely sure where we're going to do that. There must be a way. They wouldn't just put a piston that can just do one block. That just seems a bit ludicrous. I'm pretty sure I'm just missing something. So we'll try the bigger piston and see if that's any better for us. Maybe this bad boy has got a little bit more, but nope, still the same old thing. So after a few minutes of contemplating, I get an idea of that you can actually drag these things out, can't you? So why not try it with a piston, and maybe this will actually make the difference. And there you have it. That was as simple as what it was. You basically just have to drag your piston length out because obviously the piston can only extend to the length of the piston, if that makes sense. So if it's a short dumpy piston, it's only going to extend a short dumpy length. If it's a long piston, it's going to be able to extend a bit longer. The only thing is we're just not quite high enough to get where we want to go. And we do have to be careful because we don't want to run a risk of making our piston too long where we're not actually going to be able to reach the lower branch. But it's that simple, and I kind of should have known that really. Whack a saw blade on it, and hopefully this will reach now, and we'll see where we get to. So we seem to have had the height thing conquered. The only problem that we've got here is it's still kind of too far into our body, so getting around to actually be able to cut the orange mark is proving a little bit difficult. And we've also got to look at actually how we're going to get this thing to be a little bit of a reciprocating thing rather than just trying to do it up and down on the controls itself. These branches seem a little bit tougher than maybe they are. Either that or my piston isn't particularly strong right now. But we've got that kind of worked out that we can get the height on it, even though we are too low for the high branch. But we know what we're doing. We can adjust this, we can make this work. I've got an idea. So in all the controls for all this stuff, we've got the ability to make this piston oscillate, which will be great for us because it will kind of be, when we turn it on, and we just kind of hold down the button, it'll just bounce itself backwards and forwards. So if we have a little bit of tweak with the velocity and the force and the acceleration and stuff, we should be able to get this thing throwing out punches to saw down these branches like no tomorrow. We're trying to get this reciprocating real quick, so it's like, yeah, there you go. Pumping away, and that should be able to hack through absolutely anything. I hope. Moment of truth on this. Hey! Okay, so it works. We're still too low to be able to get the reach on the high branch, but the other two branches seem to work all right. However, this little guy is, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I need to, I don't know, get a different angle on it or something. But right now, we just seem to be punching the underside of it and not doing any damage to it whatsoever. I'll have a tweak and see what we come back with. Okay, so what we've done here is basically move the whole thing to stick out the front a little bit in the hope that it kind of gives us a little bit of reach. So it sticks out a little bit further than the bot, and hopefully we'll not foul ourselves on it like we seem to actually have done right here. But we might be able to nick that one. We should be able to get this one. This one's pretty easy to get. Yeah, there you go, see. So that was nice and straightforward. We hopefully have got enough reach now where we'll be able to get this bad boy. It's all about finding an angle that works. We seem to be cutting the orange mark off the bottom of the tree, which is probably cutting through the bottom of the tree. Don't really want to do that. And we're able to punch the underside of this still. And it looks like we're on the orange mark, so don't really know what the deal is here. Not a lot seems to be happening. But if we just put the blade full up, yeah, put the blade full up and sort of drag it backwards and forwards, we've got that. And what we like with this high one still, and we're still too short for this one. Never mind, back to the drawing board, extend the piston, see how we get on there. Okay, so I went for a little bit of out of the box thinking with this. See if you guys understand what's going on here. I'm going to be using a hinge to pivot, and I'm going to be using an elevator piece to move a piston that's going to have a saw blade on it. So the whole idea of this look is that this little rod is able to move backwards and forwards on the hinge. So this will give us a little bit of change in the angle of reach so that the robot itself doesn't have to get as close to the tree as we were with kind of a static piece. Squeeze the hinge up and it gives us this angle onto the tree. So I'm not really close to the tree. I'm not going to bump myself around. I'm able to get right in there and we'll be able to cut the tree branch, hopefully. Next thing we're looking to do is put this elevator piece onto the rod so that we'll be able to connect a piston and a saw to this elevator piece as well. So we've got the extra length that the elevator piece can wind up the rod, and then we've got a little bit of extra from the piston. So hopefully we'll get like the height that we need without going too crazy. If we have it set up like this, it means we can compact it all back down and it shouldn't get in the way of too much stuff. What this also allows us to do is have that piston on the oscillating mode so that it'll be able to bounce backwards and forwards so we can use that to cut. Then, like I say, we'll be able to wind the entire thing up and down that rod to kind of tweak, fine tune the height that it'll go. We might have to extend the piston out just to make it like extra long, but that's not too much of an issue. But as you can see here, it's working just what we want. So we've got that hinge working, then the elevator piece, and then obviously we put the piston on to oscillate, and if it was tall enough, it would be able to cut it down. Now what we can do here is we can lengthen the piston, or we can lengthen the rod, or we can do a little bit of a combination of both. Just as long as we get it high enough so that saw blade's able to kind of cut that tree. But that's all we're going to be doing with this, just tweaking it just so that it's right just to cut it. And then we're going to have to look at how we're going to cut the tree down, because that's kind of a cut at a different angle, and then how we're going to load the trees onto the trailer. Alright, so in the end what we did is we lengthened the rod and we lengthened the piston as well. It worked out to be the best way. What that let us do is it kept the whole thing within the vehicle's body length, if you like. So anything that I add to the back or the front or anything isn't going to be in trouble with this whole thing going on. It's a little bit tedious on the hinge though. That's my only problem with it right now. It's a little bit tedious, and as you see, it's hitting this and it's bouncing around. But of course, with this game, we are able to go into our motor settings, if you like, and tweak the torque. So if I turn the torque up to this, it'll give it a little bit more strength, and hopefully it'll stop that hinge from bouncing around. So we'll sort that out, jump in there, tighten it up just to give it that little bit of extra oomph so it actually goes where we want to go. And then that's pretty much sorted. We might be able to use this to cut the tree. We might just need to add some sort of motor or bearing on the end of the saw just to turn it 90 degrees. So it goes from a vertical cut to a horizontal cut kind of thing. And that'll be great for us because it's less things we need to add in order for it to do what we need it to do. But for that part, I would say that that's a success. We can reach all the branches. Awesome. Check that off. And while we're out here, we might as well see, can we use this blade in this current orientation to cut the wood down? And straight away, it's a big old yes, because it seems to be hacking into the wood as soon as that orange line is going. It's looking good, and we're taking chunks out of this tree. So realistically, this will do all of the cutting. So that's really, really helpful. As long as we can make this fall in the right way, which I think that's pretty easy enough, we can be happy that the saw blade that we've got is going to cut the branches and it will cut the tree. Now we've just got to work out how we're going to get the log into the back of the trailer, and I'm thinking we're going to need something to grab it and put it in. Okay, so first things first, a ramp. Strange one, I know, but I want to see, if I cut the tree down, will a ramp be able to sort of get underneath the tree? Because I think if we can kind of scoop underneath it and get it on top of us, it's going to make moving it around a little bit easier. And then if we can find a way to like lift it up and kind of drop it into the trailer, or lift it up and have a bed tilt or something into the trailer, then I think that's half the battle won. But I need to see, first of all, if the ramp is going to do anything, or if it's going to get stuck on it, or if it will just have problems or not. But hopefully, if I can turn myself backwards, I can scoop underneath it. Yeah, okay, so a ramp works. A ramp works pretty well, actually. So obviously, it's on top of us. I can get right up close to the trailer, and then it's just some sort of mechanism to sort of oik it into the trailer. Another quick test, I've got a grabber on the back into the ramp this time. I want to see if the grabber works. Thought process at the minute is if we can get it on the ramp, then we can potentially use grabbers on pistons to grab it, lift it, and drop it in the trailer. But, yeah, it doesn't seem to want to work. It activates the grab, but then as soon as we move, it's almost like the jaws aren't big enough to get hold of it. So I'm going to have to bin that idea off. That's not going to be working. They always say stick with what you know, and so far these elevating things are something that I'm getting used to, getting the hang of. Here's my thought now, okay. I'm going to have a ramp. It's going to have a bit of a flat platform, so that what we do is we scoop underneath the tree and it rolls back onto the flat platform. Then, using this lift mechanism, we're going to lift the tree up, so it's like over the top of the trailer, and then either using a little bit of backwards and forwards momentum, or maybe if we need to, some sort of mechanism to tilt, we're just going to shove the tree off of this flat platform. That's the intention. Don't know if it'll work. We know that a ramp can get underneath it, so I've just got to design this platform so that the tree won't roll too far the wrong way, if that makes sense. So it doesn't roll all the way back and fall off at some dodgy angle or anything like that. I have faith that this will work. Keep it simple and stick with what you know, right? Quick little test to see if it works. We want this platform to be able to go up and down, and it does. So fingers crossed this is what we need to do and this will work nice and easy. We'll scoop it up on the ramp. The little curved edges will stop it rolling, and then we'll just have to run it in and jump will be a good one, right? Moment of truth for this to prove itself. So if you use the front end, the nice flat end, to push this trailer around, that is good. So it keeps it inside of the white box. And then if we can get underneath it, like so, and then lift, we're not powerful enough. I didn't up the motor's torque to lift it up. But also, we're not actually tall enough to lift it in the side. So what we'll do is we'll scrap that off. I'll go back to the drawing board. I'll tighten up the torque on the motor so it's actually strong. I'll probably slow it down as well so we've got a little bit of control on it. And then I'll come back and I'll try and get this in the back end of the trailer. I think that'll make a lot more sense. Right, let's go for it. We've tightened up the motor. We've slowed down the motor so it should be able to lift a lot. And it'll do it at a nice steady pace. Let's start hacking branches off. And then we'll start, hopefully, shoving trees around and loading them up. We know that this section works. We know that we can cut off tree limbs. We're also pretty content and happy that we can hack down the tree and make it fall within the white square. So that's that part checked off as well. So that's kind of two things that we're able to do. Then it's just a case of will we be able to load this into the back of the trailer. I'm going to use the flat side again, flat side to square us up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use the ramp to literally lift it up and poke it in. So we kind of got it lined up nicely-ish to the back, and we've just got to get the ramp underneath. I don't want to go too far that it gets stuck on the underside of the trailer. And now if we just lift, it's nice and steady. Oh, it's got like a natural roll to it. One log on. Obviously, I've got to move this around just so I can get the second log on, so I can just kind of tickle it a bit with the ramp that I've got and just move it a little bit further on. There we go. And that is sorted. So basically, I would say that that's a success. I've managed to do it. This is the whole idea of what we set out to do. So I'll just go and do the second tree, load it all up, just to prove to you guys it was easy, really. Honestly, it was easy. Didn't take me an hour, honest. And there you have it, guys. Mission's complete. It was thoroughly enjoyable, that one. It got me thinking a little bit more, and I like how this game just kind of works. It's hard to explain, but it seems really user-friendly, and yeah, it makes you think a bit. That's the whole point of a game like this. But honestly, I'm enjoying how things go together. I'm enjoying how the parts are really easy to understand. You're not overwhelmed. What I'm really enjoying is just how creative you can actually seem to be with this stuff. There's 1,000,001 different ways to get the conclusion that you want to get, and it's just a case of finding it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We've got one more campaign mission left, and we'll be throwing that out at some point in the near future, I am sure. Then we might just check out the sandbox and just have a little play around with things and see what little creations we can build and what useful or useless things that they can be used for. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you very much for dropping by, and I will see you next time in the next video. Bye for now. Bye, guys.